Welcome to TRK's Man Cave. Alright, well, today we are dusting off an old white computer. It's really old, probably 1998, 1999 maybe was when it was built. I'm not for sure. It's a CTX, which I think is probably just a off-brand home-built computer, probably. It could be. But anyway, I might do a little more research on that. This thing runs Windows 95, okay? And it literally runs, but as you'll see, the plastic is all yellow. So we're going to do some work onto that, but we're going to get it on the bench and tear it apart. But before we do that, I'm actually going to hook it up and make sure it's running before I do anything else to it. So that's what's next. We will get it all cleaned up a little bit and hooked up. Then we will test it and see if we can even recover it or make it work for us. Okay, well, here it is. We'll come down here. This old machine is running Windows 95. I've got some old games for it from just games that we've had over the years we just never got rid of. So we're going to be messing around with this thing. I'm going to tear it apart. I'm going to clean this plastic. I've got a solution coming tomorrow in the mail that we're going to try. It takes sunshine and UV rays and the solution that I'm going to be putting on it to try to clean this thing up to make it look new again. But we'll see if we can do that. Okay, we have got the machine pulled out and we are getting ready to start doing some hooking up here on these old ports. The VGA, I will show you what we have to do there, okay, for the monitor. I'm going to come over here and get this cord here. And this cord here is a what they call a DE15. It's 15 pin. But anyway, doing a quick Google search on these old plugs, the older VGA connection was often referred to as DE-9 or DB-9, which is a 9-pin D sub-miniature connector. The connector was used by older graphics cards like MDA, EGA, and CGA, and was also used by some of the early VGA cards. The more common VGA connection used today is a DE-15 or HD-15, which is a 15-pin D sub connector or a D sub miniature connector. So anyway, that's what we are using today is the 15-pin D sub connector. And we will be going in to this port right down here. If you can see that or not, it's right there, blue. So we'll be going into there. And I've got a special surprise here that I'll show you here in a little while how we're actually going to be using that. However, the monitor I have, the widescreen monitor, is an HP up here. It actually has one of the 15-pin D sub connections on it, so I can use it that way, but I won't be able to capture any video because my video capture cards are HDMI input only. So I've got a little surprise here that I'll show you in a little while that we're going to try. However, we're just going to try to get this thing hooked up for now and see if it actually will work. So we also have this over here. This is an HDMI cable, of course, and that right there is a USB. This here goes to my KVM switch up here. This old machine has 2 USB ports, which I'm very surprised that this has. This might have been a later computer for like like maybe 1998 or something. I don't know. It has Windows 95 on it, so I'm not sure. Not sure about it. I need to do a little research on the actual brand. Just CTX computer. It actually has a tag, so it was a name brand. So anyway, let's get to hooking this thing up. Right here we have a USB cable that I'm going to try to go in here. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. There we go. I don't know if it'll work for sure. I just don't know. The HDMI obviously I cannot use just yet. Let's go ahead and hook up this D sub 15 pin, and they only go one way. It's wider here and narrow on this side, and the plug is the same way. There we go. The only problem with that is now I can't see my speaker ports. So I'm going to go ahead and take this back off for just a minute to make sure I know which way to go with my speaker wire. Okay, let's raise this up a little bit and see if I can tell what's what. I don't know if you can see that or not. That right there is a game port. It's for a gaming device, like a controller. The old controllers took that. I probably have an old controller that'll use that port. Okay, this port I believe is the microphone, and this is probably an input, and this one here I bet you is the output. I'm going to look these up real fast on Google to see what the emblems are on old sound cards, to see if I can figure that out so I don't get it hooked up into the wrong port. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, this is going to be really hard to see, but there's little arrows, and this is going to flash, I'm sure, when I turn it on. Matter of fact, I'm going to unplug this because I've got to lift this up to see what I'm doing here. Okay, they have little arrows on these things, and that is an input and that is the output. So I was right. There's little arrows. It looks like little sound waves. Okay, each one does. They look the same, except if you look real close, it has an arrow pointing in and an arrow pointing out on it. So that tells you what's what. So this far one right there is the output for the speaker. Okay, so we can go ahead and put this, oh, that's the HDMI. We can go ahead and put this USB back in here. I have got a speaker cable that we're going to put right in there. I'm just going to leave it loose here because it's going to have to go over. I'm going to plug it in here in just a bit to my main speaker system that I have for my other computers. All right, so we got that. And let's go ahead and put this D sub back in here. Get it turned in so it doesn't pop out, because they like to pop out on you. All right, this has a Ethernet port and it has a modem for phones, for the old phones. This will be the keyboard. All right, here's the other end of this. It will literally go into the monitor up there. I think what I'm going to do before I hook it into my special piece that I will show you in a little bit, I've got a piece that you hook this into, and you hook the audio cable into, okay? You hook this into it from here. It transfers your sound and your video signal to HDMI. Then it goes from there, the HDMI goes into the back of your monitor, or it can go into the back of a capture card, or in the input of a capture card. And you should be able to capture video off of this old machine, of whatever program you're running on it. That's the thing that we're going to try to do. But first, let's see if it even works still. It used to work, but we'll see if it still works. And we'll see if this HDMI or this USB cable will work. I may not be able to use it. This is running my keyboard and mouse through the KVM switch, okay? That way I don't have to have 10 keyboards and 10 mice up there on my desk. Well, one thing we are going to have to do is we're going to have to plug it in. So let's get the plug in there. Old white plug. We'll get it plugged up here in a second, and then we will get going. I'm not going to plug it in just yet. All right. I think we can go ahead and plug it in, I think. We'll see. So we've got it plugged in. We've got, let's see if it's on. There it goes. Press F1 to continue. Let's see if it does it. Oh, keyboard error. Okay. Let's see which one it is. All right, well, it's not going to use that USB port, I don't think. All right. It's not going to use that just yet. We're going to have to get our keyboard out and probably the mouse. I've got the old mouse right here. Okay. What we've got to do here is got to get a mouse put on here and the keyboard and probably restart it. I was hoping I didn't have to do that. Now on these, there's usually, I can't really move it around too much. There's usually two ports and the keyboard always goes in this port closest to this side right here. Okay? And then the mouse goes in the second one. And it's usually, I think they usually point with the flat spots on them that way. See if this works. Okay? Okay. Let's give this a try here. Okay, there we've got keyboard. Let's see if I can hit F1. Yep, okay, there. All right. All right. I don't know if you can see that or not. We have Windows 95 coming up here. We'll see if the sound works and everything. At least get it working. This isn't the original keyboard either. It's an old E-Machines, keyboard. All right. Windows didn't detect a mouse. Okay, why did you not detect a mouse? It's right here. Huh. Attach a PS2 mouse. It's attached. Okay. I'm hearing sound. Unknown device. Communication port. Okay. Unknown device. It's detecting stuff. ECP printer port. McAfee. Wow. You want to keep this file? Yes. Look at there. Oh, there's a few of the old Windows 95 errors, but for the most part it worked. We're going to have to shut her down to see if I can get it to find that mouse. I mean, it's here. Oh, something. DefScan GUI exe file. Can't find it. All right, well, I don't know what to tell you about that. I guess we'll have to not worry about it. These old computers are so loud. Okay, what we got going? What is that? Whoa. 3 deep. Okay, that's okay. What? eCare, EC engine. Online activity status. Let's do the tab. I'm gonna cancel that and hit OK. And get out all that stuff. Okay, let's see. Used to be able to go like that. Yep, you still can, and you can shut down. Shut down. Let's tab to yes and hit enter. Let's shut down and see if we can't get the thing to run again. While it's doing that and shutting down, I'm gonna reposition my camera so you can see better. There we go. Okay, now let's try this again and see what's going on. I'm gonna unplug this mouse and see about, actually I'm going to unplug the USB as well for right now. Let's see if we can't get this thing working the correct way. Okay, let's try it again now. Okay. Any mouse? Oh yes, we have mouse now. We have mouse in the house. Yes, we do. All right, here's all the fun stuff and errors and everything else that is going to come up. All right. Okay, all right. It probably had something to do with the scanner or something. Who knows? I mean, this thing is so old. It's not hooked up to the internet or anything, so I'm not too worried about things in that realm. Yeah, the old sounds. I suppose many people probably are still familiar with those sounds, surely. All right, you crazy old mouse. Well, I don't know what's in the recycle bin, but I don't think I'll look right now. The old ball mouse, you know. Oh my goodness. Graphics blaster. What? What we got here? PC Anywhere. 32. QuickTime. QuickTime for Windows. I mean, what would be the difference? I mean, there's a picture viewer. There's a picture viewer. It's probably an old version and a new version. Who knows? Okay, let's... Real Player. Those were something else back in the day. Yeah. I mean, they used to be a thing. It's amazing, these old computers. Shockwave. You talking about some cool stuff. Shockwave and... My goodness, I can't remember it all. This is back in the day when I first started learning internet stuff, like how to build websites and stuff. Yeah. Epson. This had an Epson printer. See, this was not my computer. It was a friend of my boy's. It was his grandmother's computer. And she didn't need it anymore. She just got rid of it and gave it to me. Now, I do have some games, like Descent, which I was never very good at. I played like the shareware version of it. Okay, and Hyperman. Hyperman came with my first PC. I had an IBM Aptiva that we bought from Radio Shack in 1996. Let me turn it around here. We bought that thing in 1996, and it was a IBM Aptiva, and it had 8 meg of RAM. Is that right? Yeah, not gig. I think it was 8 meg of RAM, and it had a 1.2 gig hard drive in it. Okay, physical hard drive. I believe it had a Western Digital in it, if I remember right, because I tore it apart. I tore it apart and learned how to put it back together. That was the beginning of my computer experiences. Actually, what I was going to do, I was going to tear it apart and I was going to put it in a different case, put the motherboard and everything in a different case. And I found out real quick that some computer companies made everything proprietary, okay? And you couldn't put it in a new case because it just wouldn't fit, all right? Nothing would fit. So I put it all back together meticulously, and I literally videoed that. I videoed it, me taking it apart with a VHS camera. I'm trying to think if it was a VHS-C or a VHS 8mm. It may have been the 8mm updated version of a VHS-C. Not a VHS-C, a VHS. They had all different standards. The VHS-C was a small little cassette that was about that thick. It was as thick as a normal VCR tape was. But anyway, they were just smaller. And I got a bunch of them. Had a camera that would record those. But anyway, we updated to a 8mm VHS recorder. And I may have recorded it on that. But anyway, I recorded that, tearing that computer apart and put it back together, and it ran great. It was just slow, but I ended up, my mom bought that off of me, and I built a brand new home-built computer, and I'm telling you, I had so much trouble because those were the days that they were creating new standards all the time. I mean, they still create new standards, but there was nothing in standard, and it just, you had to really do research, and research was hard to come by in those days because you didn't have the big whopping internet we have today. I mean, you had some, but not much, and you had to learn about different things. You had interrupt requests that would bang heads and lock your machine up and blue screens of death and everything else. It was crazy. But I had to learn the hard way how to do things because I was trying to build the best machine ever, and I had a Creative Labs AWE64 sound card in it, and that thing bumped heads with all kinds of stuff. But it was an awesome card once I got it running. Anyway, back in those days it was tough. I mean, instead of buying Windows 95, you'd install DOS or MS-DOS, and then you could install Windows 3.1 or Windows 3.11 over that, and then if you had an upgrade CD for your Windows 95, you could upgrade it to Windows 95. So that's what I used to do, is I just upgrade it, and I would be running Windows 95, and that was the latest and greatest thing. But I can tell you this, and this is kind of a funny, that when I first got a computer, and our first computer, that IBM Aptiva, it ran Windows 95. So I kind of learned from Windows 95 and back, because I didn't have a computer before then, didn't care about computers before then. So I learned how to do DOS, MS-DOS, and just all the flavors of that, and Windows 3.1 and 1.1 and all that. But I can tell you this, that when I got our first computer, I was so illiterate on them that you'd be working on it and it would pop this big thing up and go bong, and it would say illegal operation. And oh my gosh, my heart sunk. Literally, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that this happened to. My heart sank, and I thought for sure that they were going to come get me and arrest me because I did an illegal operation. I was illegal. So it just freaked me out, and I literally just didn't even want to use a computer after that. But my wife yells in there, and I told her, I yelled in, I got an illegal operation, what happened? And she yelled back to me, it's okay. It's not illegal. Anyway, oh, I'll never forget that. But that was one of my first introductions. That was before I started building the computers. But anyway, it's been a trip. The reason I even got a computer is because of genealogy and installing the family tree maker and stuff, because all the other gals and guys that were doing family tree, doing their genealogy, were using family tree maker. Well, so I started doing it too. So anyway, that's how I got into computers, really. Then it didn't stop there. I started learning how to do all my own graphics, and I Paint Shop Pro is what we used to use. I did Paint Shop Pro, and any shareware program I could get my hands on I would use, but I learned how to write in HTML using, actually reading a magazine first. It was called Net Magazine, and it ended up changing names to Business 2.0 or something. But anyway, Net Magazine had all kinds of stuff in there about how to build websites. I still have those old magazines. So I read up on that, and then Netscape internet browser had all kinds of help concerning building websites. And I studied and studied and studied and learned how to hard code. I can still hard code to this day, and learned how to hard code HTML. And then later on, I got into more advanced XHTML and CSS and just all kinds of stuff. I don't do much of any of that anymore. I still have websites that need updated, but anyway, that's my little story on computers, and there's more if I dug deep and remembered enough. But so anyway, it looks like we have it running. It's going to run. I'll have to test out some games. Let me see if I can see any more games that I might have in here. There's Disney Interactive, Davidson's Learning Center, kindergarten stuff, education. There's Creative Labs, Adobe Accessories. Let's look. Used to it would have like a games section, but I don't see that in here. Let's see. Has Office, Microsoft Office in it. Microsoft game controllers. Oh, Sidewinder. I think I have one of those. Jumpstart second grade. I tell you, we used to use a lot of that stuff, you know. Let me turn you back around here just a little bit. Yeah, okay, yeah, Dreamcatcher. I don't know what that is. Toy Story animated storybook. 101 Dalmatians storybook. David's, I don't know what all we've got. I've got some original CDs in there that we got with that IBM Aptiva. And my sister also had bought an IBM Aptiva, and it also had a bunch of stuff that she gave me. She gave me the whole computer because it's just outdated. And I don't have it anymore. I either sold it or parted it out or something, but I don't believe I have it anymore. But I think this is the only Windows 95 computer I have that works. Boy, that's hard to deal with. Let's see. Okay, there's games. Descent's in games. Descent ran on DOS, probably MS-DOS, but there's the control panel. I bet you if I go into the device manager, okay, device manager. I don't know who this was registered to. It's whoever owned the CTX, I suppose, probably sold it with this on there. I don't know why they would have put their name in there, but let's see what other devices. Unsupported devices. I don't know what that is. Do we have any USB? There's USB on the board, but I don't see. Well, there's ports. Yeah, it may be part of the unsupported devices. Driver. Well, I can't update it. I don't have any discs or anything. Might be able to update it if I was ever to connect it online, but phew, I don't know. I want to do that. It's got an Ethernet port, and I do have a switch down here. I do have a switch I could plug it into physically. So I could plug it in to see if I can't find a driver or something. It would probably work terribly. Okay, well, so there we have it. What we're going to do now, is, since we have it running, I'll show you what I'm going to do next. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, I have literally not even unboxed this thing yet. Right here, I have a VGA to HDMI adapter. So it looks like it puts out in 1080p. So I don't know, we'll see. I was hoping that the keyboard would also work. I don't think it's going to happen though. Wow. So I've not even got this thing out yet. It's metal. We'll see what happens. All right. Okay, it looks like they have mounts. You can mount it on a wall or something, or mount it to something. So there we have it. You see that, VGA to HDMI. So you got a power. You have to plug power into it. There's your 15-pin D sub that instead of going into the monitor, it'll go right here. And this is your sound port right here. So you got your power, your D sub, and your sound port. Then you have your HDMI on the other side. Hopefully that'll work and we can, you know, get it to work with this monitor, and more importantly, to work with the Elgato capture device. This little thing comes with some instructions. There's your USB cord. It's a USB one end and just a regular power, jack, whatever you want to call it. Then it's got this little booger to plug in. So that's cool. All right. These old computers were loud. Fans are loud. Hard drives are loud. They're just loud. I've heard louder ones though than this. It's not too bad. Seems like it's running pretty well so far. All right, there we go. What I'll do is I'll try it out on this monitor first and see if it actually does it. Now, here's the problem with this monitor. This monitor has no sound output, it has no speakers. So what this does is this will take your video signal and your sound signal and it combines it and puts it out in HDMI. It goes back in the back of your monitor, and some monitors have speakers and it'll pick up the sound and the video signal at the same time, which is fine for the video capture, but it won't work on this monitor as far as the sound signal is concerned. So we will not be using that on the monitor. When we plug it into a Elgato, then we can use it there. The Elgato not only has an input HDMI from where this is going to come, this is going to go directly to the input of the Elgato. Then to capture, of course, you use the USB-C going to my other computer and capture software. And then it has, the Elgato has a pass-through HDMI cable that goes to a different monitor, okay? And actually it could go back to that monitor if I wanted to, but I'll not do that. I'll go to, I have a dual monitor setup on my capture system. So I'll be able to see Windows 95 pass-through on the monitor and be able to run it and capture it. That's the idea anyway. So we'll give her a try. All right. Now the next thing, other than hooking that up to see if it works, is I'm going to tear this thing apart. And like I told you earlier, I've got some solution coming tomorrow that will allow me to clean this white stuff. It's all yellow. Looks like it's got like smoke stain or something, but it's not. It's just over time these old white computers turn yellow. So I'm going to try to re-whiten it and make it look new again. So I think it's worth doing that. I mean, the thing works, you know, for nostalgia reasons. I'm just going to get her cleaned up and try to use it, see what happens. Do a few of the old games. Okay, well, we have got the item plugged in, the VGA to HDMI little adapter I just showed you. We now have it plugged in. It looks like it has power, so we are going to give it a try and see what happens. Oh, there it is. There it is. Huh. I don't know what the deal was there. I have no idea. All right, it looks about the same. Now, like I said, the only thing I don't have plugged in is the sound. If you can see that or not. See, audio. Well, I showed you with the device that the audio. Wow. Okay. Well, we got the Taskmaster up here for. Click. I probably hit it on the keyboard or something. I wish these keyboards worked. I plugged it back in, but it does not work. It's that USB doesn't work on it. I would have to research on to see how to get that fixed, but so it looks like it's going to work. That makes me happy. We definitely have sound coming out, and we have video. Now it stretches it a bit. Let's look. Screensaver. I don't have a screensaver on. Blaster control. Look at there. Graphics chip. This must have some kind of blaster card in it. I have to look it up. I mean, there's the name of it. Graphics blaster, Riva TNT. Chip version. Memory capacity 16 megabyte. That's a lot for those old days. Huh, SRAM memory. NV4. Huh. That's interesting. Monitor. Test pattern. Packer Bell. I think it is a Packer. It may. It's an HP. Huh. Check that out. It's an HP monitor. Packer Bell. What's this here? Enable fog table emulation. Okay, whatever that is. Automatic generate 8 map levels. Use up to 5 megabyte of system memory for textures. I can change that. Could cause a crash though, you know. Settings, 256 color. Oh, I can go higher. Let's go to 32-bit and see what happens. Yes. Okay. Oh yeah. Yes, we do want to keep that. Small fonts. So 1024 by 768 is what we are in. Looking pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay, well, I think that we are going to be set now. So we've got it hooked up, and anything it's putting out here, it should put out in a capture card. So we will see how that works. Guess what we've got? Yep, there you go. I mean, strut MIDI, mid file. There you go. It's working. We'll shut that down. Okay, well, the next task will be to get it taken apart and cleaned up. So I'll probably do a little bit of video of getting her taken apart. So I'm gonna have to put it on a bench or table or something for that. So I'll see you real soon.